I'm William Wells, and today I'm visiting and talking to an old-time Plano resident, Mayland Reynolds. I'm interested in your way you and your daddy and your mama and your brother came to Texas. I want to visit with you a little about that, about Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You come down in a covered wagon?
Yeah, we did. We came down in a covered wagon, and that was somewhere around, I believe, William, 1923. I was about 5 years old, and I was born in 17, so that would probably be 22 or 23. And we came down in this covered wagon and mules, and we stopped at, I believe, is Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and camped out there. And I know my mama cooked dinner on a open fire there, and of course we had the hay and everything in the wagon for.
Sure, that right along for your mules.
You know, that was the mules eat first.
One thing about your dad's gonna make sure they take care of those mules.
He took care of the mules.
What are their names, those two?
I believe it's Kate and Huldy. I believe was the names of them.
Evidently, I've thought about it. You evidently must have been the last person to come to Plano in a covered wagon.
I guess.
I don't know of anybody else.
I don't know of anybody still
honor.
living that did. That's right.
But you came here to this farm where we're living, where we're sitting at.
We did. We came to this farm, and your grandfather, you know, he bought the mules, and he also bought the covered wagon when we got here, and we started farming then on your granddaddy's place. Grandpa Wells, we used to call him.
On this place here?
Yeah, right on this place here. And
let's discuss a little bit the terms of the farming. You're farming on the hay.
I believe that's right.
And you strictly cotton? You farm cotton?
Mostly cotton, maybe a little corn, but back then cotton was the main thing.
The rule was that a family like your family, tenant farmers, you'd find a landowner and you'd agree to farm cotton, which cotton was a king then.
Yeah.
And you'd furnish all the labor, and the landlord would furnish the equipment, the mules, and the seed, and the land.
That's
and
correct.
Split it half and
half. and half, then when the crop came off.
That was a pretty good deal for you and, and the owner, too.
Yeah, it was. It was a good deal.
But we all, the main thing, the cash crop in those days was cotton.
That was the main crop, and that's something that my Papa always, he liked to farm cotton because it's a fairly sure thing, you know, and you make something every year, not a whole lot maybe, but you did usually come out, you know, and made some. So he farmed it mostly.
This whole area was a cotton range here. It was 3 gins.
Yeah.
You ever remember riding the wagon to the gin?
Oh, yeah, you bet. I sure do.
On a bale of cotton?
That's right. That's about the only time we got to go to town.
It used to be that the first bale of cotton that they ginned in Plano, they'd get a premium.
That's right.
A lot of people tried to
get
that first bale.
That's right. That's what we did.
Another thing that was unique about that time is that you didn't hire any help. It's just the family.
Just
your mother and your brother. That's what you.
We all worked in the field. I mean, we all picked cotton, and especially Lee and I. And Mama was a pretty good cotton picker. Papa never could pick a whole lot, but he usually tried to find something else to do. But anyway, we all picked and.
How big a sack did you pull?
I think me and Lee had about a 8 or 10 foot sack, you know, and it just like
a white cotton sack made out of ducking.
Yeah, it's white trailers, what we called it.
A white trailer.
Yeah, that's what we called it.
And it dragged along in the road behind you.
Right.
It had a strap on top.
Yeah.
And you wasn't. Those days we didn't pull cotton. You picked the lint out of the bird.
You had to pick it out of the bird.
More tedious.
They didn't have a way of ginning it like they do now. You know, it's good, and they had to. You had to pick.
How much did you pick a day?
I've picked 400 pounds. Me and my brother could pick 400 pounds each in a day. Well, a day means from time that is daylight till that is dark.
Dark.
And we could. We have actually picked 400 pound each.
Of course, you didn't have to worry about coming in to eat lunch at the house, because you eat lunch.
No, you had your pork and beans and Vienna sausage. You had all this out at the wagon, you know, and under the wagon you eat in the shade of the wagon, and that's what we had, and light bread sometimes, you know. And
you always weighed up that cotton on a cotton scale. That was kind of a long scale with a beam on it.
Big P on out here, and you weighed it and to see how much, and then you knocked off about 2 or 3 pounds for the sack, depending on the length of the sack.
Some people pick up dirt and rocks and put it in that sack, wouldn't it?
Right, they sure did. But we had to pick it pretty clean.
I don't think your daddy would have stood with
No,
that. I don't think you'd not done it once, but you wouldn't do it twice.
Yeah, he wouldn't go for that. It had to be picked.
What did y'all do for entertainment? You go to the picture show, or you
Well,
went to town on Saturday, didn't you?
Yeah, we went to town on Saturday, and if I had a dime, well, I went to the picture show. If I didn't have the dime, we sat in the car and watched people go by.
You first started school. Tell us about your school days here and where you went.
Well, I started school in Prairie View down here, which is about, I would say 3.5 miles, something like that. And
didn't have no bus, did you?
No, we didn't have a bus. We did have mud roads, though. And me and my brother walked to school and walked back that evening then.
The dogs bother you a little?
Yeah, Mr. Estes had some dogs down there, usually bet us once each morning. And, but that's the way we got to school and the way we came home. We didn't have a horse or anything to ride. We just walked. And it didn't seem like it that time that 3 mile or 3.5 was a long ways. It didn't seem very far to me.
Really and truly, the people, it was a sacrifice. There's so much difference in the days. You went to school when you didn't have to work.
Right.
But it wasn't, now you sometimes have to talk the kids into going to school, but after you got through your working in the fall, then you went to school through the winter.
We was usually glad to go.
But the work came first.
That's right.
And what all did y'all raise when you was out there on the White farm on Parker Road,
course,
east of Avenue K?
Yeah, Papa always stuck with cotton, and of course we had a certain amount of corn, but he stuck with cotton mostly. And of course when Lee and myself, when we got up bigger, Papa gave us a certain amount of land for helping do the whole thing.
Yeah.
We had to help work the whole thing. Well, he gave us like 4 or 5 acres the first year, and Lee and I the first year, instead of going with cotton and corn like Papa did, we put some in onions, and it wasn't much, it's just a small amount. And it seemed that year that onions was a good price, real good price. So the next year, Papa gave us more land. He gave us, he set aside about 15 acres, 20. And Lee and I decided that we had done real well on this onions.
Yeah, you're going to flood the market with it.
We told Papa we thought we'd just put it all in onions. And he said, well, boys, I believe if I were you, I'd put a little cotton, little onions, and a little corn, something like that. But we felt like we knew more than he did, so we went with onions. That year, onions dropped down to where they wouldn't pay the cutting and topping of them. We left them in the field. We didn't make anything. That's the last onion crop I raised.
You didn't want any more onions, did you?
No more onions for me and Lee.
Somebody said that you had to see where you'd come from to know where you're going.
That's right. That's right. Well, certainly
certainly, people like you and your family contributed a lot to the survival and the build-up of this town of Plano.